Okay, Joe Diomede here, sitting in the beautiful countryside in the Odd. Are we in the Odd? The Pyrénées Oriental. And on our trip from Spain with the band, nothing concrete, we met many interesting people along the way, and one interesting man called Gilles, who invited the band to play at a party. And at that party, I met a very interesting woman called Aynoa. And Aynoa grew up north of Toulouse, not far from where we live, a little south of Toulouse. And now she's in the film industry in England. And how did that happen, Aynoa? And how are you, Aynoa, first of all?
Well, it's really sunny here, so I'm really happy. And how I ended up over there, first of all, it started when on a youth project that we did with friends, and we just did a film in the south of France, and it was like every weekend we would go and shoot, and I loved it. So after that, I just decided to go study, and then I went to Toulouse, to the city, to study films, and then I just went to England for the summer because a friend of mine said, "Oh, do you want to go to London for a week?" And I ended up staying 4 months. Then I ended up studying over there, and then now 5 years later, I'm still over there, and I just love the film industry over there. And I love the creativity and the open-mindedness that people have, and I don't know, I just ended up over there.
The open-mindedness in the industry, or the British people in particular? I'll hold the mic.
Yeah.
Easier, then I can bring it
Yeah.
back and forth.
Cool. More in the film industry, you just go and say, "Oh, I have an idea about, I don't know, this crazy stuff," and people are like, "Oh, yeah, 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 cool. Like, let's do that." And there is no judgment behind. It's just like any idea is a cool idea, and let's just do it. There is absolutely no judgment, and I love the fact that you could pitch something, and people would straight away say, "Oh yeah, and we could do it this way and this way and this way." Oh, and then have a friend, and you just they're like, "Yes," and it's just punchy, and you just like do stuff all the time, and I really like that.
And were you in the film industry here? So you studied in lycée, up to lycée or university in France?
Lycée. Yeah, the thing is, like, I studied lycée. Well, I studied visual arts and film theory. So it was a lot about like French New Wave, which, don't get me wrong, is really important and pioneer in its own way. And but the thing, it was only that and only the French New Wave. And I was there like, I want to see something else. I want to like discover other stuff. And I love, for example, Danish movies, and I've always been about the Dogma 95, and I love that. And we didn't really study that. We didn't really push cinema further, whilst England does.
Right. And so and what about you? You mentioned before, like in England, you say, "Oh, let's pitch this idea," and they go, "Hey, great idea." So do you feel the industry here wouldn't allow those creative juices to flow as much?
I think there's more restrictions in France because of administration, and French people love their paperwork, and it's more like starting a project is way harder, I feel, in France. There is so much
Resistance?
yeah, there is so much stuff that you could maybe not do, and it's, I don't know, people just are afraid, I feel, to just really start something, and that's what I liked about England, where people just do. And in France, you really like thinking, which is good because when they do stuff, is absolutely amazing because they thought about it for years. But
Yeah, right, exactly. That can maybe stop the creative
yeah,
flow. Yes. Wow.
it's not as many stuff.
And yeah, so in closing, so you're in so you've been in Britain for 5 years. So you've been the pre-Brexit and the post-Brexit, and we were talking before off camera about the feeling. You feel a lot of people said, "Oops, ooh, why did I do that?" So what do you think the future holds for you living there as a French woman, for the industries, for England working with Europe and Europeans? Just quickly, do you feel a change in the attitude in the last year or two?
Yeah, and in the film industry, it's going to be a big impact, I feel, because, well, for example, on this project I'm working on now, we're shooting it in Holland and in France, and in the same time, I'm based in London. I think we're doing the CGI in Sweden and stuff, but that's doable and that's possible because Europe exists, and there is like Europe gives help as well for projects, and like it's because collaboration between countries and stuff. But because of Brexit, there's going to be helps and funding that is going to be restricted because there's just not as many deals anymore, and it's, I don't know, it's a bit scary if the film industry will be able to continue as it does. But as a French woman in the UK, I would be really sad if I wouldn't be able to like continue working just because of Brexit. And there is a change, and people still do stuff, but maybe are like a bit afraid that they might have to go home, and so yeah, it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, a little bit tricky. Well, yeah, well, it was great meeting you. Great hearing your stories, and this countryside is absolutely beautiful where we are. And I wish you luck. And what's the film you're working on now? You mentioned something about children's books or a children's story. So just just tell me about that project, and then we'll sign off.
Cool. I'm developing a story about a little girl in a coma that just created this fantasy world, and she's running against time because her brain is dying, and she needs to, find a way out, or find a way to wake up again. And it's just basically about that. So it's really cool because it's about children's, and it touches a lot of themes like adoption and car crash as well, because there's been a rise in the past few years, and it's really really fun because you can put like a lot of jokes, and it's really punchy, and the main character is really jolly and really loads of energies, and I think it's a really good message as well for kids to just go out there, talk to people, help around, and just be nice and enjoy doing stuff. It's really about that.
Great. Well, man, that's what a lot of kids need nowadays, because there is a lot of pressure with social media and everything else going on. Well, Aynoa, thank you very much. And I say goodbye to this countryside, and thank you for Gilles for inviting us here. We had a beautiful night, and hopefully we'll meet up in London in a couple of days.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, take care. Joe Diomede, tell him I'm Brum. Thank you.